Hello everybody, and welcome back to another video. In today's video, we're back here in the NASCAR series at Daytona. And we are going to be starting here in P19. The tune we're using is by It's the Gar. I just have an unlocked version, so it just shows my name. We will drop to the back here, and for the first little bit, there is going to be more action than later on in the race, and you guys will see why. But here at the start, immediately going from last up to 15th, there were a few people there that had trouble driving in a straight line, and they all wound up crashing each other out. So a bunch of easy positions there, and moving on up here into 14th, we're going to get a really good run down this back straight. This guy doesn't quite cover the line, so we do sneak up the inside and moves us up into 13th. Now we are in the draft of these guys in front, which does have us slowly gaining. And we are going to link up here with Big Dog's 47. He and I are going to work together for a large portion of this race. So here we go, just moving on up, and we find ourselves in P11 with a teammate, someone to work with. I don't know if you guys noticed in the rearview mirror, but there was just a big collision by a couple of guys behind. But anyway, we're skipping ahead to lap 4 here, as we continue to catch and pass more and more people. Still in P11, our teammate up there that we've been working with has moved up now into P9. He moves over for us to give us the draft so that we can continue working together, which was, really awesome of him. And, ultimately I think benefited both of us quite a bit. So, skipping ahead to lap 8 here, and the two guys right in front of us, I want you to watch them right as we're going into turn 1. They are going to get a little bit pushy shovey here, right as we're about to go into turn 1. As you can see, and then they get hooked up into the wall, and that is unfortunate for them. The red Mustang that was drafting with us did get caught up in that, so that was unfortunate for him. Skipping ahead to lap 10 here, continue to move up. We just passed that guy Gibo, and he and I will be working together in a little bit, but we do have an interesting interaction that you guys will see very soon. And let's just say that I don't think that I've ever had it happen to me before in a NASCAR race, but as you can see, those two guys also got hooked up together and slammed into the wall, almost identical to the last time we saw that. So here Gibo does have the run to get up alongside us, and rather than shift up and try to, side draft and hold the inside line, I decide, I don't want to fight with you. I will back off a tiny bit, tuck into your draft, and let's go ahead and try to catch up to the leaders because they're less than 3 seconds ahead. And, if we work together, we certainly have a chance to get closer. Anyway, we're skipping ahead here to the end of lap 12, and right there, there was that little, right there. Dude just like straight up hit the brakes and slowed us down significantly. Lost control a little bit, slammed into the wall. We are just in draft range, but we do ultimately lose that, and we basically just wind up driving the next however many laps by ourselves. Um, so, you know, sometimes the race just doesn't go the way you want. That particular type of interaction, which frankly just seemed like a brake check, I don't think I've had before. I've been slammed into the walls plenty of times, but that kind of interaction is, I don't know, it confused me because I felt like if we'd continued to work together, we actually had a pretty good shot at catching the leaders, because I do feel like we were both very fast. The lap time doesn't necessarily reflect that because we were constantly, bump drafting. But yeah, a P5 at the end of the day, really not too bad. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed that race. And let's go ahead and hop into the next one. Alright, so we're here at Bathurst for this one, guys, and we're going to be in the Lexus. The tune is by THR Boost, and the design is by Clamp God. So getting started here, we are going to go ahead and pull over. The Lexus was actually not too bad here. I was worried that it was going to be quite the handful, and that that this might be pretty rough going. As it turns out, it actually wasn't too bad, especially considering Bathurst isn't my strongest track. I do think that the extra speed and acceleration on the straights definitely helped with a lot of the positions that we wound up making up. As you can see, kind of a hectic corner as we turn onto the mountain. This Bentley really thought it was a good idea to try to go 3 wide there, so I backed out. Just wasn't worth the risk of getting wrecked. We do wind up getting by the NSX there, and while the Porsche is right on us, I do think that we wind up getting back by him in a little bit. Had to take a weird line there to avoid that purple Mercedes after it lost control with after the contact with that pink Porsche. And here, that BMW, something happened to him, so he lost a couple of spots there, and we are now basically right on the back of him, coming on to the back straight at the end of lap 1. Now this race, I do have a lot of just raw footage because there is a ton of action throughout, like the first 4 laps or so. So I'm gonna go ahead and let this play for a little bit and quit yapping, and yeah, hope you guys enjoy. Unfortunately there, yeah, just got bumped into the wall. That was an accident. I was not expecting him to brake so early. But thankfully, it didn't put him into the wall or anything. But anyway, as you can see, we are just kind of following the BMW, catching up to these two of the new GT3 Porsches. And can't find a way to get by them currently. They do wind up fighting pretty hard. I think we get by them on the next straight, if I'm not mistaken. The Lexus was a little bit of a handful around here, but I do think that it actually wound up being one of the cars I, was a little bit faster with around Bathurst than others, which is surprising with the new BOP, because the new BOP has the Lexus is still, pretty quick in a straight line. And the handling with Boost's tune is actually pretty good. We do go to a little bit deep here. BMW gets right back by, and now that green Porsche is right behind us. But yeah, get back onto the mountain here, and BMW does collide with the wall. Unfortunately, we can't quite get alongside. The Porsche thinks about having to dive up the inside, thankfully backed off, so that we all made it around there cleanly. And from here, I believe we start to pull away from the Porsche a little bit. I do keep slamming into that wall back there, which isn't ideal, but overall, it's been close, and I think mostly clean racing. I think people have their intention is to be clean, so that's been good. There has been bumping and a little bit of pushing and shoving and whatnot, but on a track this narrow and with so many corners and whatnot, it's gonna happen. But yeah, so here's where we start to pull away from that green Porsche. We're gaining on the pink Porsche here, but decide not to dive up the inside. He winds up braking way too late and just completely cutting the track, and that goes ahead and gives the BMW and I the opportunity to get by. I do go a little bit wide here, but we do have the acceleration to keep in front of the Porsche. Porsche thought about going up the inside. We do take a nice defensive line. BMW goes a little bit wide there, and we move up into P12 here at the start of lap 4. We're gaining on this Porsche. Outbrake him just by a hair. Get the inside line and move up into P11. Now, skipping ahead here to the end of lap 4, this Porsche in front goes off, which gives us an opportunity to kind of close the gap up on him. I thought about having to dive up the inside, figured let's have a little bit of patience, maybe we can get by him here. If not, we can get by him on the back straight. I do get alongside here and try to hit the apex. A little bit of contact, but no big deal. And we get onto the front straight and start pulling the gap. So we skip ahead here to lap 7. We have been gaining on P40 Pro here, and he makes a little bit of mistake going into the S's, which puts us right on the back of his rear wing, and that is going to be great news for us as we come on to this extremely long back straightaway. The Lexus just has the power to get right on by the Porsche here, and that moves us up into P9. Now the Porsche through this final section does gain on us and is keeping the pressure on here. I don't want him to dive up the inside, pull over a little bit late, try to take a better line, and as you can see, he is just right there behind us. He's gonna, I think, no, he didn't look again right here. I thought he might have, but I think it might have been that other Porsche. Here, the final lap, final corner, in P8, and made a little bit of a mess of it there, but ran a 2026. Granted, it was dirty, but that's a great time for me personally, so I was very happy with that. Going from last to 8th, especially around Bathurst, where it is very hard to pass, you know, felt pretty good. There were a number of people who quit, which is unfortunate, but frankly, you kind of expect that at Bathurst. So, anyway, hope you guys enjoyed that one. And let's go ahead and hop into our next race. And for our next race, we are here at Hakone. And we are going to be in the Porsche for this one. The new Porsche R GT3, whatever, GT3R. The tune we're going to be using is by HLR Joe, and the design is by FLR Psycho. So hopping in here, and I have never been able to really drive the Porsches. I try, and I just can't seem to quite get it right. I will say, however, that this Porsche, out of, you know, all of the ones available to drive, was the easiest for me to get along with. Again, not great for my driving style personally, but definitely of the Porsches, the easiest for me. A little bit of unusual contact there, I feel like. I don't feel like that was the NSX's fault, but he did get slapped with a 2-second penalty, which certainly is not ideal. Now, I will say a lot of this race is the raw race, because there is just a lot of battling and passing back and forth, and just overall a lot of, you know, very close racing. And you know, this was a good lobby. Most people seemed, you know, very clean, and like they wanted to have good clean racing. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and let it run here. I will be back shortly. skipping ahead to lap 8 here. We are in P10, and we've just kind of been on the hunt, trying to catch up to Chris 27 GMS 1 here. He does go a little bit wide. We get a better run out of the corner. Hold off. Have a little bit of patience instead of trying to get the move done early. And he actually goes a tiny bit wide here, and then catches the curb in a bizarre way and sends him into the wall. Gives us the easy move there. So that was weird to see. I will say in practice, I got spun on that right there coming out of that curb, and my front bumper actually got stuck on it, so I had to quit practice to get my car to drive again. Anyway, Goldfish Viper there had quite a big advantage on us and wound up going off, so that has brought us within a second. We do pit at the same time at the end of lap 9. I do go for mediums again. The reason that I went one extra lap on the mediums was so that they would not have really any wear or very, very minor wear by the end of the race. I figured, that would give us a slight advantage, right at the tail end of the race, should we be close to or battling with somebody. For these next 6 laps, it is mostly just hunting and quite a few battles as the race goes along. So I will go ahead and shut up and hope you guys enjoy. as y'all can see, the two cars there in front of us had a moment that allowed both Goldfish Viper and myself to close that gap up quite a bit. Goldfish Viper does get a better line and run out of that final corner and gets back by us for 8th place. The good news is we can see 6th, I think we even saw 5th there for a moment, 5th, 6th, and 7th. And of course we've been in a little bit of a battle with Goldfish Viper there in 8th. I will say, just to add on to what I was saying earlier about this, at least for me, definitely being the most, I guess, user-friendly Porsche, is the way I would kind of describe that. It seems to be kind of the easiest to manage. But to go along with that, I also very much enjoy the way it sounds, and you know, I think it's the best sounding and best looking Porsche in the game currently. So it's very cool to have it, and it's very cool to have a Porsche, you know, a new Porsche here in GT3. So Goldfish Viper and Lord Easy here having a moment. Thought about going up the inside, decided against it. Brake a little bit early to try to go for a move up the inside again. The Ferrari makes contact with Goldfish Viper there and kind of pushes himself wide. This corner in the Porsche was definitely the one I found the most tricky. It was, for me, it was challenging in particular to not kind of go into a drift, but for the most part I feel like we did okay during the race. I certainly needed quite a bit of help in practice. Goldfish Viper there getting a little bit loose on that curb coming out of the final corner, which does give us the opportunity to get by. I brake a little bit earlier than I should have to really make sure that we hold that inside line. A little bit of contact between Goldfish Viper and I, but ultimately no harm, no foul. So here we come onto the back straight, and the Aston, it seems like it may have had a little bit of a buff in the straight line speed department. Ferrari racing up on us. We're gonna hold the Ferrari as wide as possible. They do both go around the outside though. The Ferrari I'm not too concerned about getting by because he does have that 2-second penalty. I feel like we have the pace to keep up with him if need be. Goldfish Viper, a little bit of a moment there, allows us to get back by. So as you guys can see, he and I have been having quite the battle. He's going to go up the inside here, but that does give us the inside for the final corner. Almost make contact, but I leave just enough room. A little bit of a bump there, which I think was incidental. But now we have unbred jellyfish coming into the mix. So we have a Porsche versus two Astons here. Goldfish Viper goes extremely deep into turn 1, and that lets us get by him. Now we are side by side with the other Aston of unbred jellyfish here on the last lap, coming onto the straightaway. Now that contact right there, I was really just trying not to go off track. And I feel like he, you know, was kind of continuing to drift wide. I don't know whose fault that was, really, but you guys let me know. Certainly, at least from my perspective, incidental contact. But, you know, at the end of the day, It was just kind of unfortunate racing incident from my perspective. But anyway, coming into the penultimate corner here, you know, like I said, close enough to the Ferrari. I wasn't super concerned about, you know, staying within his penalty range, which we did manage to do. We did just manage to stay in front of Unbred Jellyfish also. And that was probably one of the better races in a Porsche I've ever had, if not the best race in a Porsche I've ever had. As you can see, our lap time was not particularly good, but at the end of the day, not too bad either. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, I hope you'll leave it a like. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope to catch y'all in the next one.